Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great myself because today we're back once again to take a look at our favorite Nintendo fanboy, who still, after almost a year of Elden Ring being out, is making videos on it trying to downplay it. This time trying to dunk on it by saying that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have outsold it. Because, you know, obviously if a game sells well, that means it's a good game. We've never had a case where a game sells extremely well at launch and then loses all its players due to a lack of content. But sarcasm aside, I think this one should be pretty interesting. And also, one more thing I think I should mention about the gameplay on screen right now. This is my fist-only run in Elden Ring. Basically, I can only use fist weapons and nothing else. No armor or anything like that. Obviously, I could still use, like, talismans and stuff. So, yeah, enjoyed this footage where I constantly get my butt kicked by Morgott. Don't worry, I did end up beating him, and now I'm stuck on the Godskin duo. Who would have thought the Elden Ring equivalent to Man Ray and the Dirty Bubble would stop me? But anyway, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cool and Beautiful Rabbit Hole Lore and Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So, Nintendo has released their financial reports today, and I had a good look-see at, like, some of the titles sold. I actually have quite a bit to say about a lot of this. This is really interesting stuff, but the one thing that really stuck out to me, and the one thing I really wanted to drive home immediately, is that my prediction 100% came true. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet quite handedly outsold Elden Ring.
I can't even imagine what point you have to get to in life where you're reading over Nintendo's financial reports and you see their sales for a video game and you immediately think, yes, this game outsold a game that I don't like. It's been almost a year since that game came out, but it lives rent-free in my head, so I gotta make a YouTube video talking about it. But I feel like we should just disprove this point real quick. Because, you know, like I just said, the sales don't really matter. If you enjoy the game, then enjoy it. But saying that Elden Ring beat out Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is just a lie. Don't get me wrong, it's incredible how much Scarlet and Violet is sold, especially with the state the game's launched in. But to say they've beat out Elden Ring is just a lie. Let's take a look at this. This comes from Eurogamer, in case anybody's wondering. Elden Ring received a surge in sales at the end of 2022, which has been attributed to the success at the Game Awards. FromSoft parent company Kadokawa, I hope I'm saying that right, published its third quarter earnings earlier today, with worldwide blockbuster Elden Ring driving a 206.4% increase in net sales across the gaming division. And then we scroll down a little bit and we see there's no new sales total for the game in the report, but by November last year, sales had surpassed 17.5 million. So as you can see, 17.5 million by November, and then it received a massive surge after the Game Awards. Now, I highly doubt the Game Awards caused Elden Ring to double in sales, or more than double. What is this, like triple or something like that? Whatever, increased by a lot. And as of right now, we don't have the new sales numbers yet, so hopefully we'll get them soon. But it's definitely got to be past 20 million at this point. I mean, think about it. November, it had around 18 million, and then it gets a massive surge after the victory at the Game Awards. I don't know, man. Something tells me those numbers are a little higher than he's letting on to. Let's keep going. I've got more I want to say, but I'll save it for later.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold like 20 million units, like Elden Ring has only sold 18 million after like an 8-month head start. Scarlet and Violet didn't come out until November. So, in short, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, was a better selling game. It sold faster. It was a much bigger release than Elden Ring. And the reason I bring this up, the reason I was so angry at Elden Ring, and one of the reasons I made a name for myself, kind of condemning what Elden Ring fans were saying about this release, there was a really big push among the community to present Elden Ring as the best-selling new IP of all time, the best-selling game of the year, even though it came out in March.
I don't think anybody was pushing an agenda of best-selling IP of all time. No, nobody's trying to say that. Wasn't the best-selling game of all time Minecraft for a while and then Tetris took over or something? And then GTA 5 is up there as well, I think. And I love how he says people were trying to push that it was the best-selling game of the year even though it came out in March. What does that mean? If a game comes out in March, can it not be considered as one of the best-selling games of the year? That makes no sense, but anyway. Also, dude, dude, here's a reason for why Pokemon may have sold better. Maybe it's a much more popular franchise than Dark Souls. It's much more family friendly, so more people can, you know, have access to it. Obviously, there's a lot of parents out there who aren't going to be really cool with their young children playing a mature rated game. And also, Pokemon has been around for what, like 30 years now or something like that? Dark Souls has only been out for a little over 10, so of course it's not going to sell as well. But is Elden Ring a worse game than Pokemon because it didn't sell as well? No. But let's continue on.
And I think, what was the third one? Best-selling game, like, you know, one of the best-selling games ever made, right? Like, there was a very big, coordinated, like, agenda from, like, you know, these big, like, Elden Ring fanboy channels to, like, paint this as, like, one of the biggest success stories in gaming. The game that, like, made Nintendo tremble and delay, like, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Like, this was supposed to be the biggest release ever.
Yes, it's the biggest release for a FromSoft game ever, not the biggest game ever. Nobody was ever saying this would be the biggest game ever. I'm pretty sure the biggest game ever on launch is probably like GTA 5 or something like that. Didn't they make like $1 billion in 3 days or something? But also, who the hell was targeting Nintendo with this whole thing? Sure, people may have compared this game to Breath of the Wild because they're similar in how they work, but nobody was saying, oh, this is gonna make Nintendo tremble in their boots or anything like that. You just think that because anytime anybody in the gaming industry has a success who isn't Nintendo, you automatically assume it's an attack on Nintendo. It's kind of like the US whenever a war breaks out. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding. I'm a history major. I can legally make that joke.
And, you know, flash in the pan success, you know? Like, you know, Sword and Shield sold 25 million units, Scarlet and Violet sold 20, like, you know, Legends Arceus sold like 15, you know, like, I think, like, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the remakes, like, I think that outsold Elden Ring too. I'll have to check it. I'll have to look at that. Like, the reality is, like, there are so many, like, bigger Nintendo franchises than Souls, honestly.
Yes, which is exactly why they keep selling better than Elden Ring, along with all those reasons that I listed earlier that I'm not going to repeat. But guess what, dude? Despite all those games selling extremely well, I'm pretty sure the Diamond and Pearl remakes were the only actual good ones. And Legends Arceus, which, by the way, it's Arceus, not, what did he say, Arceus? Yeah, Legends that's, no, what? Whatever, point is, just because a game sells better doesn't mean it's a better game. And even if it does sell better, what does that mean? Why is this like some bragging thing for you? Oh, I know why. It's because Elden Ring lives rent-free in your head.
Like, Elden Ring only did as well as it did because of, like, the open world thing, the hype from fanboys, and, like, maybe the involvement of George R.R. Martin. Like, that's it. Like, you know, most people, I think, kind of tuned out of, like, Elden Ring pretty quickly after it came out. It's not all that good of a game. You know, I have no interest in checking it out. Like, I have, like, you know, no expectations for it, like, that it will be particularly well remembered.
Yeah, I'm sure the 20 million plus people who bought the game are just fanboys, right? Great logic there. But I'm sure Breath of the Wild success has nothing to do with the open world either, am I right? But I just love how this dude's like, oh, it's not that good of a game, and then just admits he hasn't played it and he has no interest in playing it. Like, dude, just shut the hell up. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion on a video game if you haven't played it, but if you have the very unpopular opinion on a game and you're also a fanboy, maybe your opinion isn't quite as valid.
You know, we're in 2023 now, and, like, you know, once it got its Game of the Year award, like, you know, it stopped being talked about. You know, like, it is this year's It Takes Two. You know, the game just cannot compete with, you know, superior franchises like Pokemon, you know, at 20 million units sold, like Super Mario Odyssey at 25 million units sold, you know, like Animal Crossing New Horizons at 40 million units sold, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 50 million units sold.
Wait, you mean to tell me that a niche M-rated franchise isn't gonna perform as well as franchises that have been around for decades and are friendly for all ages? Oh my god, imagine my shock. And I just love how salty this guy is about the Game of the Year thing. Even putting on the mocking voice and everything, like, Jesus Christ, calm down, my guy. It's just an award. But I'm sure you were perfectly fine when Breath of the Wild won, now weren't you? Even when he takes one of his pathetic victory laps, he can't help but be salty about the past.
You know, like, these games are gonna, like, keep selling for years, whilst Elden Ring is kind of, like, relegated to, like, you know, only selling when it hits, like, you know, $10 on Steam or whatever, which, you know, the company will then use to like inflate their sales numbers. Like again, it's interesting to. It's interesting to see this.
I mean, it definitely is interesting to see a man in probably his mid-30s or 40s recording a Nintendo Fanboy YouTube video on a Nokia phone who can't even be bothered to put his laptop and recording equipment out of the way, talking about how much he hates a game and how he's glad it's being outperformed by others, with part of his belly sticking out. It reminds me of that scene from SpongeBob. When Patrick's chilling at the beach, he's just laying down, and then somebody comes up to him and tells him to put that thing away. Am I the only one who got that vibe, like, immediately? I don't know, but to be honest, it makes sense. This dude has been showing off Patrick's star levels of intelligence so far.
Because, like, you know, I knew it would happen. I told people it would happen. And, you know, no one believed me. I was laughed at. There were so many, like, salty Elden Ring fanboys, like, making these weird commentary videos about how I didn't appreciate Elden Ring and how I was a casual and how I was, like, just a Nintendo fanboy. Well, guess what? Like, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet didn't even make my top 10.
Gee, guys, I wonder who he's talking about. I've definitely never seen Harmon show up in my comments from time to time. Sorry, Harmon, did I hurt your precious little feelings? I'm sorry. But yes, Harmon, you are a Nintendo fanboy. I'm genuinely surprised you're denying that. You praise everything Nintendo and ignore all the flaws with everything Nintendo. And then the second something else comes out that's good that isn't Nintendo, you have to bury it. You spend the next year hating on it because that's how much these games live in your head rent-free. But I do appreciate the indirect shout-out, my guy. Thank you for that. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. The rest of the video is him just repeating himself and talking about how great Legends Arceus was. It's Arceus, my guy. But whatever, yeah, that, and also I'm about to run out of gameplay footage. I did not think this video would be as long as it was, so I only got like 8 minutes of footage. And by the way, at the time of finishing this video, I have completed my fist-only run on Elden Ring. I did make a community post about it. It was a lot of fun. It took me less than 11 hours, surprisingly. Although the Godskin duo did make me want to get hit by a parked car. But anyway, guys, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.